Hello friends, my name is Jennifer Johnson and I raise sheep for their wool. This video is all about my upcoming fleece auction. I wanted to spend some time talking about the fleece auction and some of the fleeces that I'm going to be offering. I only sell raw fleeces via an auction on my website, and this auction lasts a full week, which gives you plenty of time to review all of the listings, look at all the data, and get all the information that you need to make a very informed decision. The data I'm going to provide on the listing includes a photo of the front of the fleece, the tip, which is important because you want to understand what the lock structure looks like, as well as an idea of the cleanliness, and it also gives you an idea of what the color will be. With the shetlands, you're going to get possibly a different color on the tip than you will inside the fleece, so you want to have a good feel for that when you're looking at it. I also provide a photo of the base of the fleece, so the flip side, so you can see the shearing quality. You can get a feel for what the actual color is, so the base doesn't have the effect of the sun bleaching on the tips. A lot of times black fleeces look reddish or brownish because that tip has that sun bleach on it. So I provide both sides of the fleece photos. I provide a photo of the lock up against a ruler. And this one I think is a really important photo because it shows you the crimps. You can get a crimps per inch by just looking at it. It gives you a sense for what the tip looks like, a really good idea of the color. You can see if the lock is very compressed or if it's open. So if it's really open, I'm recommending we process it on a drum carder, just as is, especially if it's rude. Whereas if it's really clumped together, it's probably a better fleece for combing or flicking. I provide a full copy of that individual sheep's Micron Report, and this is done by Texas A&M. So why is that important? There's information on that Micron Report that can help you understand the quality of the fleece, what it's going to be like. And we've got a couple videos, I'll put a link to those in the description, where we go through some of the key data attributes on that Micron Report that you want to pay attention to depending on what you want to do with your fleece. I provide the age of the ewe. So the age of the ewe on our farm is a little bit different. What that tells you is that ewe is really special. She's made the cut every year as we go through and determine who's going to stay and who's going to move on to other farms. So she's probably very typical of what we're breeding for. Or she's been a producer of lambs that are typical of what we're breeding for. Many times older ewes are coarser, but that's not really the case with us. Our older ewes have been selected because they've retained their fineness over the years. So, and you can see it in the Micron data and by looking at the staple. But anyway, so I provide that information. I provide a photograph of the ewe. Now that's important just because you want to identify with that ewe, I imagine. And it's nice to see what she looks like. If she's spotted, you can sort of see where the spots are on her body. You can get another picture of her in a different light so you can get a feel for the color. So a lot of reasons for that. So I provide the weight of the fleece on the listing, and this is important because obviously, you want to know how much fiber you're getting based, if you're doing it specifically for a project. If you're going to be using the weight of the fleece to estimate your project, you do want to make sure you calculate some shrinkage. So you're going to have waste and you're also going to have loss because there's grease in the fleece raw. A rule of thumb on a really well skirted fleece that doesn't have a lot of dirt is probably 20%. That's probably high. You might do better than that. When I send my stuff to the mill, it's dirty. It's got a lot of the dirty wool on it. My shrinkage is usually 50, but that's for a comb top prep. So I'm losing quite a lot of wool just to get that nice smooth comb top prep. I provide links to the fiber prep equipment that I offer from Magicraft, just so you can kind of get a feel for what I use. And you can always cross-reference that to the brand of your choice, but I'll have the drum carder link for the 128 TPI, which is the one I use. The 2-row combs. There are new extra fine combs. I wouldn't use those on these fleeces. I would just stick with the 2-row, the flicker and the 2-row hackle. I don't use the hackle, but I have people that do use them and they like it, so I put the link on there. I also share some videos on prepping the fleece. If you look at enough videos, you'll get the full range of, how I'm processing the fleeces that I produce. Every fleece comes with its own data sheet. So when you make the purchase, I put a photo paper, laminate it. It's got a picture of the ewe, picture of the fleece, picture of the staple. So you've got all that information. You don't have to fiddle with it. The weight, the color, the age, I think I have the date of birth on there, the U, all of her Micron information, just anything I could think of to put on there that I thought would be important, that I would value, so that you have it as a record and can refer back to it. So once the auction closes, it's probably going to close on a Saturday night, so that'll give me Sunday to get everything processed, and I really strive to get the fleeces shipped out as rapidly as possible. So my goal will be to have them out by Tuesday, everything buttoned up. Shipping is free, so the price on the fleece at the beginning of the auction is the price. So if the price gets bidded up, obviously, at the end of the auction, whatever that is, but there's no shipping added onto it. So that price is what it is. And that is for continental United States. If you're in Alaska or Hawaii, contact me and we'll figure out what your shipping cost is going to be. And if you're outside of the United States, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be offering fleeces this year. I've yet to figure out all the customs issues related to selling raw fleeces internationally. So this is a United States auction only, sorry. And as always, please feel free to reach out to me. It's not like a burden for me. I really like to talk to people about our wool and stuff. And if there's a specific fleece you wanted to get more information on, I'd love to hear you. I've done Zoom calls with people going through a couple fleeces. It takes me some time to dig them out because I've got quite a few this year I'm selling. But yeah, if you've got more questions than what's in the listing, just reach out. We'll get you what you need. To receive a notification when the auction begins, so I'm going to be sending out an email, go on my website and go to the very bottom and subscribe to my mailing list. And it's a very low risk proposition. I don't do a lot of outbound emails. I do an email when my comb top stuff gets loaded up to the website. I'll send out emails when new products are launched. So like when the new bobbins, the color 2022 limited editions were released, I sent an email about that. And then this fleece auction. So there's not a lot. Or if there's something important that I need, but I don't do like weekly things. So make sure too that you, I think I said this already, but make sure that you, in your email software, put me in there as a contact. And this will prevent me from bouncing or going into your spam folder. So it's jen6265@gmail.com, and that will prevent that from happening. If you do think you're going to be buying a fleece, once the auction starts, I strongly recommend you go in there and set up an account. So for whatever reason, the application that I'm using for the auction, so I just actually install that for the auction and I uninstall it when the auction is over. But that app requires that you have an account set up before it lets you go on and place bids or check out or whatever. So make sure you do that and make sure that you have access to your user ID and password so that when it's time for the final bidding, you don't have to wait for all that stuff to get into the system. I've decided this year I'm making more fleeces available. So last year I was really particular. This year I'm letting more fleeces go through, only because I want to offer more options and more variety. But I am fully disclosing if, let's say, there's a fleece that has excessive neps, in my opinion, or, I can't think of any. Maybe it has a little bit more VM. So I take photos of it, I disclose it, and I also, if it's excessive, I will discount for it. The reason I'm doing that is I've got a limited number of fleeces, and I really feel like I want to try offering more selection this year. So if they don't sell, if nobody's interested in those, that's fine. I don't ever mind having extra fleeces to process myself. But like I said, I just wanted to make more product available and give people more options. Tags. So I'm going to be putting tags on each listing, and you'll see the tags. It's up in the upper right hand corner of every listing. You can filter, and it's very limited. You can only filter on one tag at a time. The tags I'm going to be using this year are going to be rude, sheared. So you can filter and only see rude fleeces or only sheared fleeces. Rude lamb, rude or sheared lamb. So if you only want those. Discounted, less than 2 inches, less than or equal to 2 inches, greater than 2 inches. Fleeces that I suggest you run on the drum card. So these are going to be usually rude fleeces that are more open, so that the lock structure didn't stay nice and tight and compact. Short curly tips, so these are short fleeces that have very coiled tips that make really nice lock spin yarns. And then spotted fleeces. So if the fleece is spotted, not if the U is spotted. So there might be a U where a head has a big spot. It's more, is the fleece multicolor? So the tag I'll use for that is spotted. Return policy. So if you receive your fleece and you open it up and you're like, ew, I'm not in love with it, reach out to me as soon as you can, and I'll get it, take it back. I'm going to ask you to pay the freight to get it back to me. Once I get it, I'll inspect it, I'll weigh it, make sure it's the same weight as it was when it left. And then I will either issue a store credit, which is my preference, or I can issue you a refund. The issue I have with refunds is I don't get the credit card fees back. So the credit card fees that I pay when you make a credit card purchase, which I'm happy to do, but those don't come back to me when I issue refunds, but they do if I issue you a store credit. So that means you have a credit to purchase other items on my website. But I would be more than happy to do either, but I just wanted to make sure you knew what was going on there. If you're not sure and you think you might want to try the fleece, just take a small piece of it and wash it, process it, and then make your decision, right? And then we'll go from there. So I thought it would be fun to go over a couple stats on this year's fleece harvest. So we harvested 74 fleeces. Last year we did 64. So 74 sheep were sheared or root. This year I'm offering 55 fleeces in the auction. 10 fleeces are going to go to top along with all the skirtings from the auction fleeces. And then 9 fleeces I'm going to process. The comb top fleeces are rams and some ewe fleeces that I just didn't want to process for various reasons. The ones that I selected to process myself, those have excessive VM or second cuts, so I'll work on those. Last year I offered 42 fleeces for sale. This year, like I said, 55. And the breakdown by color, I have 7 white, 7 black, 10 moret, 16 gray, and 15 fawn. There'll be 5 spotted or multicolor fleeces in the auction, 24 root, 31 sheared, and 23 lamb fleeces. If you're interested in Micron data, the lowest spinning fineness was Lucia. She came in at 16.8, which is ridiculous. And then mirror read was our highest at only 23.6. So our flock average of spinning fineness is 19.9. So I took out a couple fleeces I wanted to go over with you guys just to look at them. And these are fleeces that I think are really good and typify the different types of fleeces that I'm going to have in the auction. The first one I wanted to show you is from Alice Paul. All right, so Alice Paul, her spinning fineness is 18.1. She's 3 years old. This is a sheared fleece. And the reason I wanted to show you this fleece is that this is going to be a discounted fleece because I sheared her. Alice Paul's fleece is absolutely beautiful, but she was sheared after she hit the rise. So there's like 1/8 of an inch of next year's growth, break, and then her staple that's available for sale. What's going to happen is that's going to come off as waste. It's not that much of it, but it's enough that it bothered me. So that is Alice Paul's fleece. Everything else about it is spectacular. And Alice Paul is super friendly. She's one of my lovies. So, you know, in the morning when I come in the barn, she's there. I've sold her fleece every year. Feedback has always been excellent. Just realized I didn't have the camera on. This is a lock. Spinning fineness of 18.1, 3 inches of length. Post-skirted weight was 25.7. I do have a discount on this one. It's going to be $102.80. So that's my Alice Paul. The next fleece I want to show you is from Lucia. Lucia is a white ewe, lamb, rude. She's the one that has the lowest micron. Honestly, that's not the reason I selected it. I selected it, it just feels amazing. Because when I was taking photos of it for the listing, I just was like gobsmacked, just how it feels. It's so soft. It feels like thistledown. It's silky. I wrote down, oh my God, so silky, no faults. So she's got a spinning fineness of 16.8. The actual fleece is small, it's only 12.1 inches.
I believe you meant to say ounces.
This is something I did want to point out, is when you're looking at the Rude fleeces on the listings, they look really large. It's only because a Rude fleece opens up more because of that mechanical plucking I do. Sheared fleeces are more compact. So don't be confused by that or misled. The Rude fleece, use the weight to determine the size of the fleece. Just a spectacular fleece. Lock is, I don't have the length written down here, but it's like 2.5 inches. The white fleeces show the dirt more. So all of the fleeces have about the same amount of dirt. The white fleeces show it just a little bit more. So this is what the back side of a Rude fleece looks like. There's no lines from the clipper, rather there's these little clouds or clumps from where I grabbed the fleece to pull it off. And I did make a ruing video last week, so I'll put a link to that video in this description of this video. So you can see the Rude fleeces come in 2 pieces. So that's our Lucia. So the next fleece we've got here is from our lovely Dina. So Dina is a more senior ewe in the flock. She's 5, but she has a spinning fineness of 20.5. So like I said, she's special. I did discount her fleece. She was sheared, and she didn't shear great. So there are going to be some neps in this fleece. I don't think they're going to be difficult to pull out. And some of them might not actually be neps, but yeah, there's one right there. And here's where we sheared her after she hit the rise. Anytime you see a fleece with this, on the Shetlands anyways, where there's this mat, that usually is an indicator that you sheared her after she hit the rise. But what I was envisioning for a spinner that goes with Dina's fleece, or if I end up with it at the end, is this is like an ideal fleece for making those bumbly yarns. Here's where I'm talking about the super coiled tips. Nice and short, so you can actually just draft the base and then the tips will stick out of the yarn and have this really cool texture. Like a random boucle, I guess. So Dina, so I've got a note even on here, right? It says, shearing quality was okay, a little rough. 14.1 ounces. This is her staple length, about 2.5 inches. It varies though because of the irregularity of the shearing that she had gone through. So I'm offering this fleece for $56.40 at a discount because of the shearing quality. And I also want to make sure it's clear that the shearing quality is not a reflection of the shearer's ability. It's more about when the sheep hits the rise. I talk about that a lot in that other video. All right, so 2 more to go. The next one I wanted to show you was Belinda's. I rode Belinda. She's a lamb. She's really sweet. She's out of Mabel. Those of you that know Mabel, Mabel's fleece has always been in the auction. 2 pieces to Belinda's fleece. Belinda's spotted. So this is a spotted fleece. And I just wanted to show you. She's actually an example of 2 really good things. Number 1 is that she's spotted. So she's got the white and brown. This is the bottom, just because the colors show up better. When you look at brown fleeces of the tip is usually sun bleached to a really pretty gold. If you flick this, a lot of that'll come off and you'll end up with a yarn that's got these really beautiful golden shimmery highlights. You barely see the color. It looks more like shimmer. It's really pretty. So this is what you get. And like I said, you've got white and you've got moret, but then there's these sections where they join and it's more like a fawn. But the other thing I wanted to show you about Belinda is she's got some scurf, which I will disclose, and it's in the photos. It's not enough that I think it's necessary to discount the fleece, because if you scan the balance of the fleece, it's pristine. But at the britch, there is a little scurfing. With some vigorous combing, you can get that out, and it may not come out, but usually by the time you've spun it into yarn, it comes out. Those, you know, if you don't have experience with scurf, you may want to skip this one. That's really what I would probably say. So that is Belinda. So her fleece came out at 15.3, and it's selling for $76.50 in the auction. She has a spinning fineness of 18.1, and I put her staple length at 2 inches, but it might be 2.5 because it's pretty crimpy. So that's that one. The last one I wanted to show you was from Aida. She's also a lamb. And when I say lamb, this was her lamb fleece. She was 12 months old. At 11 months, they're still lambs. At 12 months, they graduate and become yearlings. So when I refer to my lambs, I'm talking about my 12 months old girls, and they're all brats. I just love them. All right, so Aida's fleece, incredibly soft and beautiful. Rude fleece. It's just flawless. The thing I thought about when I looked at Aida's fleece, this recording here, what I thought about was that I thought this would make a nice fleece that you could just wash it and put it on the carder, maybe send it through a couple times, a pretty high TPI, nice dense cloth. I think it would make a really nice, somewhat textured yarn. You could probably get it to a worsted weight if you wanted to, but I just feel like this would be really nice done up that way. And I've done it before, and it does come out nice. You could also very easily grab these locks and comb them. They're pretty well defined. The other thing I love about Aida is just how dark she is. She's a really nice dark moret. And I just really like it. I like the lighter ones too, but I just felt like this one stood out and just incredibly soft. So Aida's spinning fineness, 18.5. There's her beautiful staple. 2.5 inch length. So in the auction, you'll see this, but I'll have a ruler right next to it. You'll see the lock, but I'll have a ruler right next to it. I don't have it here right now. So this fleece is going to be $59.50, and it's 11.9 ounces, barely a pound. But it's just, the person that gets this fleece, I feel very, very blessed. All right, so I just wanted to, this is information I really wanted to get out to everybody, so sorry if this is kind of rough cut, but so fleece information and the photos and the listings with the pricing and everything, that's going to go up. I'll send you a notification. It'll go up on a Sunday night. The fleece you'll be able to bid anytime during the week. There's no restrictions there. You can bid right up to the very last second before the auction closes. There's actually a little countdown timer on the listing. Sign up for my newsletter. Once you get my email, get your account set up. You may already have an account, but if you don't, get it set up. If you want to get a notification, go on my website, register, sign up for my email. And I think that's everything I wanted to tell you. So good luck. I hope you get the fleece that you want, that meets your needs and fills your dreams and makes your heart just sing with joy. Thanks so much.